I love that music so much. It gets me
I
really
love
hyped.
it does. I hope it gets everyone else hyped as well.
Fingers crossed. Well, hello and welcome to the League Two preview podcast with myself, Matt. I'm back this week, and of course, we're with the brilliant Charlie.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Thank you. You're brilliant too. Just
Thanks,
a bit
man.
less. Just a bit less.
Right. So we had Liam filling in for me last week, and he made some rather questionable predictions, which turned out not to be true for the most part.
Absolutely.
So we're back on with our regular table this week, where I will be making my own predictions and hopefully getting some a bit better than Liam did. As we look into the first few games of this Saturday. How's your week been, Charlie?
It's been all right. It's been a long week, especially no football on Saturday, as you'll very much know.
Yep.
Football on Tuesday for us, and it wasn't very good as well. So, not much has happened this week. I don't know about yourself. Anything nice?
Not particularly. It's that sort of time at uni where everything needs handing in. Played football on Wednesday and lost. No, we drew. But that's not Notts County based. But yeah, that's pretty much been my week. So not very exciting. But here we are, the highlight of it all.
It absolutely is. I've been waiting all week for this. Just the face. And yeah, for those on YouTube, you'll have noticed that I'm in my living room today. Yeah, very nice. I just thought I'd tidy up a bit. I had a background on the other week, so I just thought, you know what, I'll take it off this week, and here we are. Yeah, just it's modest, I know, but
no, it is. I appreciate the grand piano you've got in the corner going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over there.
And yeah, I've been practicing. It's it's great. I just love snuggling up with my 40 friends on these sofas, bite size of them, and the fireplace. It's beautiful. There's no telly in here, which I'm starting to notice, and I don't know what's in that bowl there, but yeah, it's a lovely space to be. Should come over sometime.
Oh, I certainly will. Shall we get into it then? So you mentioned Bradford played midweek and a draw to Doncaster. Grab McCann just taking the mick out of you now.
He is.
The most boring club in the world, Accrington Stanley, who actually aren't the most boring club in the world anymore because they've decided to get rid of the manager who's been there for about 40 years.
No.
You've got Accrington Stanley tomorrow away. How are you feeling about it?
Do you know what? If you'd have asked me this 2 weeks ago, I'd be looking forward to it. We're very buzzing. But then we missed Barrow, we missed Notts County, and then we had a very underwhelming performance against Donny, which is, I didn't watch it because I was working, but it didn't sound the best. And from me, that's concerning because we've seen what we're capable of now. And it just feels like maybe time without players made it ebb away slightly. We've lost a bit of it, perhaps. Maybe lost a bit of the fire because, it's hard to build a run-up when you're not playing many games. So potentially we could drop off and, we've lost this chance now due to circumstances out of our control. It's a bit of a shame. But, yeah, looking at Accrington, I'd say nervous because now not only do I not know anything about them, I don't know anything about us now because I don't know what we're going to be like. I don't know how we're going to play. On Tuesday, the positive is we didn't have Richie Smallwood, our captain, in the midfield. So hopefully now that he's back, we'll probably see a sort of a rise in the quality of our performance compared to Tuesday. Graham Alexander, the manager, he did an interview. I don't know if it was last night or today. I've just seen it today. And he was speaking about how highly he rates Richie Smallwood, saying he makes players around him play better. So potentially seeing him come back could be the difference between losing and not losing on Saturday for us. So it's an interesting one. I'm unable to go to that, which is a shame. We played Accrington 3 times this season. Well, we will have after Saturday, and I've not been to any of them because I'm a plastic. I actually support Man United, guys. So, yeah, that's a joke. Well,
do you think Accrington could have their first manager bounce in about 12 years?
I don't know. Have they got a manager yet? We should know this. I should know this.
I don't think they have, but there's I imagine that obviously there'll be like a caretaker involved.
Yeah.
How do you think that? Because sure, obviously Accrington have played the same way, the same style, under the same manager for, I think it has been about 14, 15 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been ages. It's been
very,
ages.
very long time. Do you think this, obviously as a caretaker, do you think it's time to switch it up, or do you think it's just like, oh, we'll keep it going until a new manager comes in? Because they could be very bold and go, you know, we're going to switch it up. We're going to go for a 5-back. We're going to play wing football.
Well, producer Hannah has just given us a little bit of information. John Doolan is the interim manager. Who? Fitting for Accrington Stanley, I guess. Lol.
Who is he?
Who is he? John Doolan. Who is he? Yeah, I read a bit of Andy Holt's statement. Andy Holt's the owner at Accrington Stanley, and he's been pretty crazy on Twitter, having some crazy rants. You know, kind of when your dad gets home from a night out and you don't know what the fuck he's on about, kind of things. Yeah, it's just weird. But he actually spoke a lot of sense in his statement. He seemed to say that he really didn't like the way that they handled last summer, which obviously led to them going down. And I don't think that he's too happy with the way they've handled this season. So, although it's a big change, it could be for the better. And for me, the actual decision itself it's shocking, but I can understand it now that he's given clarity. Whether or not they'll be better on Saturday, I don't have a clue. I don't have the most faith in the squad, if I'm going to be honest with you. But again, that's down to my ignorance towards Accrington Stanley. I'm not trying to say, Accrington fans, we're going to come and beat you and then we're going to go away laughing. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not confident purely based on, I feel like we had a chance to put a run together, build some momentum, and it stopped. John Doolan was the coach for years with Coleman and Bell, so it's basically keeping someone who's already been around. So that might not change too much, we'll see. But he's only an interim.
He is, but yeah, if he's been around for so many years with them both, I can imagine that he's going to continue in the same vein. So, obviously, Bradford, they're going to have Smallwood back. They've had a poor, a couple of match days, I suppose, because they haven't played in most of them. At least you get to play on a decent pitch now you get into Accrington because it's away from home.
Yeah, lol, good one.
Thank you. I'm working on that one all day. However, Accrington haven't had the best run of form. They've lost their last 3 in the league, which isn't great. I couldn't tell you who that was against, if I'm honest. They lost to Wrexham 4-0 recently, which isn't... I mean, it's Wrexham, but 4-0 is not a great scoreline to have.
It's not the best.
So
you prefer to win 4-0?
Yeah, oh no, you're definitely right. Thanks, Charlie. So with that in mind, and the fact Bradford haven't played, well, the last time they played was midweek, and that was a poor performance against Doncaster, as you said, and then they haven't played a couple of games before that. Accrington not on a very good run of form. Give me a score prediction.
Pardon? Sorry.
What?
I said pardon.
Prediction.
My score prediction, I hate to say it, but I can't see it going anywhere. I'm going to say the most dull, most boring 0-0 anyone's ever seen. Ever.
You're 0-0?
Yeah.
Okay.
And how about yourself?
I mean, I don't know a lot about Accrington. As we've said before, I think they're incredibly boring. But I do think I know a little bit about Bradford. And I'm going to say Bradford are going to win 2-0.
Get in.
However, I don't think I've got a prediction right yet, so I wouldn't be too. I wouldn't be
I don't
too
think
happy.
I don't think anyone has. You know.
Good stuff.
So someone must have just fallen downstairs in my house. I do not know what's going on. Yeah.
So,
next game.
We'll move on, and we'll stick with tradition, and we'll look at the Notts game next. And we play Wimbledon at home. Now, we haven't played in a while now because we didn't have a midweek game. We were supposed to play on Saturday against Hughes, but your pitch is a swamp, so we didn't. When did we play last before that? Did we not play on the 2nd yet because of your swamp? Then the last time we played when we lost Sutton 4-3, and that was at the end of Feb. We haven't played a game in a little while now, which either could be a good thing because we're on a bit of a brown patch, or it means that we're going to lack a bit of sharpness, which is something we've been lacking all season. So we don't need to lose any more of that. Last time we played Wimbledon, they, to put it politely, spanked us. And Al Hamadi decided he was going to be the greatest striker to ever play at Wimbledon's ground against us. I think he scored a brace. Incredibly good player. And I think he scored the other day for Ipswich.
He did, yeah. I was about to say that. And I've got notifications on for him so that I can, be a bit knowledgeable. Yeah, it's literally just him. So, but it'll be stupid stuff like I'll get a notification. I'll be like, oh, has my friend messaged me? Has someone scored a goal? And it'll be like Ali Al Hamadi subbed off. And it's like, okay.
Just to keep up to date with him. We don't even like Wimbledon.
Literally. I know, but we like Ali Al Hamadi. He's a League Two prospect. And looking at Wimbledon's form, by the way, they're not doing anything.
Oh, they're not? I know.
Well,
they drew to Grimsby.
Drew to Grimsby.
So
yeah, well, Grimsby put 5 past you. No.
That's not the point.
So you're as good as Grimsby, is what you're saying.
Brilliant. So us and Grimsby on the same level.
Yep. They beat MK Dons, lost to Donny, lost to Crawley, lost to Accrington, and then in between Crawley and Accrington, they lost to Morecambe. They drew to Morecambe. So it seems like, for the most part, they're a pretty dry team in terms of results right now.
They're up and down. Not seem to be scoring many or conceding many.
No.
But Notts County comes into play because we score lots and concede loads. So
could you see another 5-all though? Obviously,
I don't think it'll be 5-5. I must say I'm nervous because Maynard's under a lot of pressure from our fan base, and I don't believe the owners would do something silly and rash. I think he'll see out whatever happens. He'll see out to the end of the season, unless we're obviously like suffering from relegation form by the end, which I don't see happening. I really hope not. I think Maynard will stay, but he needs to turn this around pretty rapid.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to lose the faith of the fans, which he already is doing anyway. But if it gets to the point where we've finished the season in 15th and we've lost our last 4, going into summer, everyone's going to be calling for his head, which is not going to do his confidence any good, the team's confidence any good.
Yeah.
It's one of them where I know that's a bit in the future, but it needs to start turning around pretty ASAP.
In your opinion, what would you say is going wrong with Maynard right now? As a Notts County fan, what are your concerns? Is there anything that's encouraging? I
think what's encouraging is the fact that we're conceding less. I know we conceded 4 to Sutton, right? But bar that one, we are typically conceding less. Defensively, we do look stronger, which is something we needed to work on when he did come in.
Yeah.
But what seems to have happened is we haven't got the balance at the moment between defence and attack. Is that we're better defensively, but we've nullified our own attack. Whereas before we could almost, a lot of our wins, we outscored people, whereas now we're not doing that.
That tends to be how you win a football match.
Shut up, man. You know what I mean. God, he's on a good one today. I think there's definitely positive signs and there's definitely positive performances. We just need to start seeing some positive results, and that's what will get the fans back on side. I think he's a Notts County manager. Like, and you can look at people and think, yeah, they're a good fit for the club. They're not a good fit. I think he's a good fit for us.
Yeah,
I just think he needs that time to settle in, but with how we started the season and with how the fans look at our club, he needs to settle in very quickly, and he hasn't done that yet. And that's what I mean when it needs to change around pretty ASAP.
Yeah.
But Wimbledon are going for playoffs as well. So are we. Wimbledon are above us in the league. By 4. We're 14th.
I've stopped looking at the league table.
I would. You're below us.
I've given up. All right. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Right. So with that in mind, I'm going to say it's going to be 1-1.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with you on that one, actually. I can't. But the thing is that the amount of goals you conceded to Sutton, no offence. But that's...
Oh, no, I didn't do it. I'm taking.
Shut up. Yeah. It's one of those where, well, they conceded that many to Grimsby. They conceded that many to Sutton. Why are they not sorting it out? Will they sort it out? But at the same time, it seems like you just... I'm trying to think of a way to put this. Maybe would you say the basics? It's the basics that you struggle with,
It's a lot of silly mistakes. It's less tactical and more personal in you'll notice one of the goals against Sutton. And however much I think Aidan Baldwin's brilliant, and I do love him as a Notts County centre half, he just passed it through to him and gave him pretty much a free shot on goal. And it's like, great. That's not very helpful. And then I think we conceded a penalty as well. We did.
Is it a blur?
Dan Crowley, it's all a blur. Dan Crowley gave away a penalty. And again, love Dan Crowley, but giving away a penalty against Sutton, not ideal. So 2 of the goals straight off the bat could have very easily been avoided. I think it's just a concentration thing. It's a man management thing, and I think it's just going to take a bit of time. And at the minute, but we don't really have that much time, which is the issue.
Absolutely. So,
are you joining me in a 1-1, or are you going to change?
Do you know what? It's between 1-1 and 2-2. I can't see you winning. Maybe more. I'm going to say 2-2 just to disagree with you. Not to disagree with you, but to make things interesting, But yeah, I think you're at risk of, just cocking it all up, which is a shame because you've got some great quality in the squad. But it just seems like you've fallen short. I think what it boils down to is, in the goal scoring department, you've carried that up with you. But I feel like you need to match up with the defence now as you've come up. It's your first season back up, and you've had far from a bad season though. So, well done. Yeah. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, mate. Much better season than Bradford, to be fair.
Right, watch
anyway,
it.
We'll move on to the next game, and we'll shoot to the very top of the table. There's Mansfield versus Swindon tomorrow. Mansfield taking the top spot last week over Stockport, which we did actually call, didn't we, a couple of weeks back?
I think we did, but we also called Doncaster ending up in the top spot. That can still happen.
We did say that Doncaster are going to get autos, and it's still on. Mathematically, it's on.
And, I can't wait for it.
It's going to be one hell of the end of the season.
Mansfield, Swindon, though. Mansfield, it feels like mission accomplished for them, doesn't it, so far? Not only to be in the autos comfortably, but to now claim that top spot. It's a big statement, and to be making statements when you've already made statements, it's like, here's a statement, bam, here's another statement. It's stuff like that. So
a lot of statements.
It's 2. But you look at Swindon, and I think it's safe to say, no offence, Swindon fans, I know that you get upset, but Swindon fans would agree their season's over, you know? So I don't really know if it can go any other way than Mansfield winning. Like, Mansfield are bottlers, but I feel like they've got to a point now where they're not bottling. And I've said this all season, they've made it very clear, so did Stockport. They're coming into this season and they're just going for it.
Yeah, and I think Mansfield is they've just got such a large quantity of quality that is really hard to it's hard to play against, as Knott's found out. It's really difficult to play against, and when you've got such quality at the back, such quality in the midfield, incredible quality up front, they're pretty much destined to just do it. And Swindon have got a lack of confidence. They're struggling off the pitch, which is going to impact the performances on the pitch. It's a bad combination at Swindon at the moment, and coming up against a very informed, very good Mansfield town side at Mansfield, it's going to be a difficult one.
But we have overlooked, and again, producer Hannah stepped in to help the little kids out. Mansfield did lose to MK Dons on Tuesday, and I did know that. I knew that because my mate put a bet on it. But MK
Dons are going for the autos now. They've got a real opportunity, but we can get to them. We can get to them. They're playing Salford, so we'll get to them shortly.
Very shortly. So yeah, we're all agreed. Everyone's man. Everyone here has agreed. Everyone listening, us, everyone else. Swindon are going to lose. Yes, they lost to MK Dons on Tuesday, but MK Dons, I believe, have one of the best quality styles of football, and I think the way they play and their squad's brilliant. I think if they don't get autos this season, if they don't go up this season, it'll be a travesty. Not just autos. Swindon were the first team to beat Mansfield or to beat Mansfield. See, I'm reading out messages in the chat to beat. Thank you. Swindon
will have ended their 19 game unbeaten streak, won't they?
But
they did. Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah, for looking after us. But
we'd be lost.
Didn't Swindon have a couple extra players?
They
One
did.
Of which
they had
are MK Dons. Yeah.
Yes. Who obviously, I imagine I can't remember the scoreline or who scored, but I imagine they were pivotal no matter what.
There you go. I mean, but Swindon's form in the last 3 games particularly, in fact, in the last 6 games, isn't actually that bad.
No,
they drew to Harrogate, beat Tranmere, drew to Stockport. Hannah, if you want to have a to that. Lost to MK Dons, drew to Gillingham, drew to Salford, and just to take it further back, they lost to Newport when Newport were on that run, and they also beat us. So, really, although they're not getting the win, you didn't even play us, Matthew.
We beat you at our place.
Yeah, well, we weren't trying anyway. So, yeah, it's not some bad results. It's just, I'd say, a bad string of results for Swindon. They've not won in a while, Well, they have, but they've not won. They've not won many, is what I'm talking about. But to draw to Salford when they've just recently been on good form, to draw to Stockport, who maybe have dropped off a bit, but still a much better side to them, and Harrogate as well, and then to beat Tranmere, I think that's a very, very decent win for Swindon. I still do think their season's over, but in terms of a score prediction, do you think that influences you much? Bearing in mind that they did beat Mansfield this season as well, the first team to beat them.
No.
Boring.
No, it doesn't. I'm going 4-2 Mansfield.
you know what? It is going to be a battering, but I'm going to say 3-0 Mansfield. I don't see Swindon scoring.
I think they'll get a couple.
Well, you'll give them 2. That's very nice of you.
Exactly. Give them 2. Give Mansfield 4.
Okay. So, should we move on?
We should. Right, so we mentioned MK Dons earlier, but also, do we want to do them now or do we want to wait a little bit? Because we can go to the bottom end of the table because there is quite a there is quite a big relegation scrap game in Sutton.
And what is that?
Ooh. Sutton United take on Grimsby Town in Sutton.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the fixtures list now, and on a side note, I have notifications for every game in the league, so when I'm at a game, I can know what's going on in the others. Every game has notifications, including the one that I would be watching, except Sutton and Grimsby. So for whatever reason, I must have decided a long time ago that I do not want to know what happens in that game. But yeah, I'll fill up some time because if you're not watching on YouTube, Matthew's eating, so I'll let him finish.
It's a quality
Grimsby. Is it nice?
Strawberry cream.
Yeah, they're the nicest ones.
Not sponsored.
So this is the score lots of goals versus Notts County derby, really.
Brilliant. Cheers. Yep. It pretty much sums it up. Sutton thrashed us at the beginning of the season. They then beat us 4-3. Grimsby Town, we beat at the start of the season, I think 3-2, and then drew 5-5. Lots and lots of goals against Notts derby.
And we'll start by talking about Grimsby's form. Woeful. Absolutely woeful.
Pants.
They did, however, get a point against Wimbledon, a point against Morecambe, and beat Forest Green, which is a massive, massive, massive win for them, especially considering that they're right next to each other in the table. They're holding hands. And it was deemed by many to be sort of the relegation decider, really, near enough. Obviously, things can still change, but to beat a team who is fighting for the same thing as you is a really, really good win for them. And to also, beat. I think Forest Green are in decent form right now, but we can discuss them later. That implies to me that I think Grimsby are up for this fight under Dave Artell as well. Dave Artell saved Crewe from relegation when he first turned up there. So for me, I'm inclined to think that Grimsby will not go down, regardless. But that doesn't mean that this isn't a big fixture. To say Sutton have been picking up, picking up points. They've beat you and they've not won in God knows how long. But it's still a big game. And to say it's against opponents of a similar level, it could be very interesting to see what's happened.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think Sutton they've beaten us twice, but most teams have beaten us. And yeah, you're right. It's going to be a really interesting one because I'm looking at the table and there's 8 points between the two, between Sutton and Grimsby. However, Grimsby do have 2 games in hand. If Grimsby come away with a win here and then can make use of those games in hand in a right way, then yeah, like you said, they're safe, almost guaranteed safety.
Has my camera frozen like that for you?
Yeah, it really has.
Oh my God.
So for anyone watching YouTube, we've got a lovely still of Charlie. It's just me now.
Can you not see me? Has my camera disappeared?
It did for a second. It's just a black screen. We're having some technical faults if you're listening on Spotify or Apple.
You're a still for me, but
great.
I'm a still for me, and I really, really, really hope that that's not how the video is going to come out.
You were a still for me for quite a while.
Yeah, and now it's come back to bite me. God, that's awful. Sorry.
She can see me normally, but you are a black screen. We'll carry on. We'll keep it going. thankfully for those watching on YouTube, you can just see me now. So that's a win.
Right.
I think Grimsby will win. Even though it's away at Sutton, I think Grimsby have it in them to win. Like last 3 games, they haven't lost. They've drawn 2 and won 1. And like we've said, that 1 win was a really big win. I can't see it going any other way than Grimsby coming away with a win. So I'm going to go 2-1. I don't think it'll be very high scoring, despite the high scoring goals against Notts County Derby in its name. I think Grimsby will come away with a 2-1 win.
I'm going to say it's a toss-up between a 1-0 and a 2-1. Again, I do think it's 2-1, but for the sake of the contest, I'm going to say 1-0.
Okay. We're going to have to start putting Newport in them first because you keep trying to copy me.
Yeah. Well, I'll do the next one first then.
Okay. So we're at that time. It's time for a little ad break. He's back.
I am back.
By the way.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd say it. Maybe the best yet. In case we
maybe. It's definitely up there. Probably top 3 I've been a part of.
I think I'm going to buy that product/service that is being advertised.
I may invest money in the thing that was spoken about prior to this conversation.
Yeah.
Right, we move on. We've got Charlie back, for better or for worse. He's back on the camera. So we get to
the next game.
We work top to bottom. We'll go Harrogate and Crawley. I don't see this being a massive fixture, if I'm honest. This isn't really one for the books.
I think this game will be remembered in League Two history. Could be wrong.
Just being a game in League Two history.
I think it is a game in League Two history.
It is.
I mean, Crawley had a good season, good start to the season. Like, we've rinsed in every week. We've said this. Harrogate ended up tripping up and falling into playoffs for a little bit. And now they're both not in playoffs anymore. And they're both sort of loitering around mid-table where everyone wants to get their hands on that precious playoff spot. I haven't got a clue what's going to happen here, but looking at the form, Crawley are in decent form, Harrogate aren't. So Harrogate, obviously, as we've just mentioned, they drew to Swindon, lost to Newport, lost to Walsall, drew to Crewe, and lost to Mansfield. So, in all fairness, those sides have been in pretty good form recently. Walsall are in the playoffs. Mansfield, top of the league. Crewe, putting pressure on at the top as well. So, on paper, do you see this run of bad form purely being down to their opponents, or do you think they're rubbish now?
I don't know. I don't think they're bad now, but I don't think. Obviously, their run of games hasn't helped their form or helped their chances in performing well. But if you're going to be competing at the top, you need to be beating or at least drawing against the top teams, which they haven't been doing. I think they've just kind of found their place in the league. I think this poor form has almost taken them to where they should have been at the start. I think they overachieved at the beginning, and that raised everyone's expectations. Almost like what Notts have done. We overachieved at the beginning. Yeah. Everyone thought, oh my God, playoffs. Oh my God, maybe automatics. And now it's like, we're painfully mid-table. And I think Harrogate is sort of similar in that essence, that they overachieved at the very beginning with a decent squad, but not anything special. And have been expected to maintain that and haven't done, and have just been shown up with the past week, past month or so, because of the teams have played, have been like, that's where they should be, and it's where they're not. So I don't know if it's been a case of this poor form is down to the teams. It's just showing how, like, where Harrogate should be.
And by those standards, by the way, where Harrogate should be is above you in the table. So
And above you. So
yeah, I mean, looking at Crawley, had a great start to the season, as we've discussed.
did he?
You are.
We haven't mentioned that.
We've mentioned that a lot,
But
not just today. I'm talking about.
Hang on, are you telling me people expected Crawley to go down or something, and then they've done really well? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
It might be what I'm trying. I know it's a hot take, but I don't think Crawley will go down this season. So, yeah, one thing I'm noticing looking at Crawley's form is they've recently beat Accrington, they've beat AFC Wimbledon, they've beat Forest Green Rovers, and they've beat Walsall. So, no, they drew to them actually. But they're a roundabouts teams in the general area. They did lose to Morecambe in their last fixture, but that's an informed side right now. So for me, Crawley, I'm quite pleased with how they're doing so far. And I don't want to be mean to Harrogate though. I really don't want to be mean to them. But Crawley are better than them at football, at playing the football game. So
playing the ball foot game.
Playing that game with the football
Game
that
with the
we
football.
talk about.
Crawley are just a bit better. Yeah,
Just a bit.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
They're on the same points, but I think I agree with you. With that in mind, do you want to give your prediction first?
Yes, I shall give my score prediction first, and I will say, God, what's it going to be? I'm going to say 3-2 to Crawley. I think Harrogate will surprise people, even me.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to completely disregard what's just been said for almost the entire conversation and say they're going to draw 1-1.
I don't think it'll be a draw.
I know you think it'll be a win.
No. I just can't see either team settling for a point.
No, but whether it's a settle for a point or not, whether it's...
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't think it'll be 1-1 at half time and then finish 1-1.
Yeah.
But I don't know, they're both very similar in my eyes. And 1-1 seems to work for me.
Okay.
But Harrogate and Crawley fans, if you are listening, you can have some hope in the fact that, like we've mentioned, we haven't got any of these predictions right.
We haven't. We've predicted games to be played, and they've not been played. So
very good.
That says a lot about us.
Yeah. Right. Well, we'll move swiftly to MK Dons.
Do you know what? I knew you'd go for that one next.
Is that because you're looking at the same Google sheet as I am, and they're underneath Mansfield Swindon?
Nope. I just chose a fixture and thought, I bet he goes for that one next.
Oh,
so
right.
I clicked on it early.
Okay. MK Dons versus Salford. Obviously, Salford are on a decent run of form at the moment. However, they did get battered not too long ago to Mansfield, wasn't it?
It was. The scoreline was...
Wasn't it like 4-0 or 4-1?
5-1, which
5-1.
is disgraceful. You're not gonna... I know Mansfield have been, beating Harrogate 9-2, but nobody can be pleased with losing like that.
Well, no.
Cheers. This is why I disconnected, man.
This is why I prefer when Liam does it. MK Dons on a much better run of form. Lost to AFC Wimbledon the other day, which is a fantastic result for everyone who likes football. And however, like you said earlier, Mike Williamson has got MK Dons playing a very, very attractive style of football, and they are in the race now for the automatics. They're 2 points off the automatic spots. They just beat Mansfield, didn't they, on Tuesday, as Hannah said earlier?
Yep.
The MK, they're a force to be reckoned with. They've got a really solid squad. They've got a really good team. They've got a really good manager. And I don't know, man. I just don't think Salford are going to be able to handle it. I know they've got a bit. They've been on a much better run since the new manager came in, but it seems everything's shouting that it's going to be an MK Dons win in their empty gallery of a stadium.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I mean, I'm a Mike Williamson fanboy. You know, if I didn't have this background up, you'd just see a big poster of him on my. I've got Mike Williamson bed sheets and everything. No, I love the style of football that he plays. I think, you know, we got to experience it early on, which I don't shut up about, but they were so good against us. Well, at their place, we battered them at ours, but, you know, it's all right. Yeah. Salford, major props to Carl Robbo for what he's been doing over there. He's brought in a new style of play, and he's apparently sort of re-energized the whole squad and just changed things up. But, you know, in football matches where people play football like this, I can't see anything other than the better team winning. You know, MK Dons are the better team. I think they've got better players. Matt Smith might be a little bit of a one to watch for Salford, but apart from that, no way Salford. The Milton Keynes massive. They're the only ones that I can see winning this, and I'm going to say 3-1 to Milton Keynes Dons.
3-1 to Milton Keynes Dons. In the game of football, I think you're right. I think MK Dons are definitely going to win. I think it's just a case of how or if Salford can fight back a little bit against that. The scoreline. But I wouldn't be massively surprised to see that MK Dons just, you know, steamroll over Salford and pass their way through them every single time. So with that in mind, you said 3-1.
I said 3-1.
5-1.
5 again, another 5-1
to Salford. To MK Dons.
Whoa. Yeah. You what?
That'd be one hell of a fixture, wouldn't it? Salford 5-1 against MK Dons.
It would. I mean, no matter whoever scores 5, it's going to be a hell of a fixture. And nothing against Salford, disclaimer. But MK Dons, I just believe to be better. And Matthew agrees, don't you?
Yep. Yes,
Lovely.
I do. Moving on, we've got Barrow versus Colchester. Barrow kind of slipped off slightly, but they're still doing all right. They're still up there. They're still in the playoff spots. And Colchester, under the Cowleys, who we both like, are still battling for survival, but are looking more likely like they're going to... looking more likely like they will survive. They've drawn their last 3. They've only lost 1 in 5, but they haven't won in absolutely ages. Oh, excuse me. The Colchester haven't won in absolutely ages. The Cowleys, I think, are brilliant. But Barrow's got Pete Wild, and Barrow are 6th. So that means Barrow will win.
I don't know, you know. I mean, if you look at the form, Barrow have won 2 in their last 5, but they've lost 3 in a row.
They did.
Before their last
they had
one.
a brown patch.
But they had a big brown patch, as we predicted, by the way.
We did. We said
we predicted the skid mark. But yeah, Barrow's win was against Gillingham, which I think is quite a decent win. Whereas Colchester, I'm seeing a lot of grey and red when I look at their form, which isn't very nice to see. But I'm not sure. I really can't bring myself to believe that I'm convinced Barrow would win. I don't think I'd put money on Barrow winning, and I don't know why.
Oh, if it's your gut telling you it's something else, Charlie, you go with your gut.
I do go with my gut, and I'm going to say my gut's telling me a 1-1, a very boring 1-1.
Oh,
In fact,
wow.
no, Cole Stockton scored maybe the greatest goal ever. Mark my words. But still 1-1.
Right. Okay. I do think Barrow will win. I think Barrow are just too strong. So I'm going to go with a nice simple 2-1. Nice little 2-1 to Barrow. Although I do think they'll be drawing at some point. Like, I do think it'll be 1-1. I don't mean 0-0 because obviously it'll be 0-0.
And on the topic of Barrow's, brown patch and stuff, where do you see the season ending for them? In playoffs, outside of playoffs?
I think they'll maintain playoffs, but I think they'll finish 7th.
Do you think they'll go up?
No, I don't think they'll go up. I think they'll finish in the playoffs and probably get knocked out in the first round.
I think there'll be a very random team that will surprise people and end up in the playoffs. It might be us, it might be Newport, it might be even Salford, potentially even Doncaster. But I think there'll be a random team in the playoffs and they're going to win it out of nowhere. I don't know why. Just my mind, that's what it's telling me.
Just the mind of Charlie that I don't think anyone wants to delve into right now. Moving on, we've got Doncaster versus Crewe. Doncaster obviously battered Bradford 1-1 on Tuesday. And Crewe Alexandra are they 4th? Yeah. They're on a very good run of form. They've won 3 of the last 5. They lost recently. I won't be able to tell you who against without looking, so I'll have a look. But what do you think?
I do think it's a bigger game than the table implies. It's maybe some people would say, it's a bigger game for Crewe than Doncaster, but I really think Donny do have the opportunity to put a run together and surprise people. And, although their season is more likely than not over, if they can put a massive run together, you don't know what's going to happen. Whereas Crewe, they're going to want to win this to, move back up into 3rd. So it's a bit of a sticky one still. Yeah, I really don't know. I think Grant McCann is toying with us, and whatever we say, he will make sure not to do it, which is part of what's it's very clearly his master plan. I'm really, really struggling to think of a result. Do you know what? 2-1 Donny.
2-1 Donny?
2-1 to Doncaster Rovers, who have a really nice pitch, by the way.
Oh, makes a change for you boys, doesn't it? Morecambe beat Crewe recently. Beat them 3-2 last Saturday. Morecambe actually doing quite well, but again, we'll get to them. I think I can't see Doncaster beating Crewe. I think Crewe are just too strong. I think they've overachieved this season, but they keep overperforming as well. And it's not just a case of like empty results almost. Like they've got the performances to back that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Crewe will win maybe 3-1.
Really? You think it's going to be that far? For some reason, despite Doncaster recently losing to Walsall by that exact margin, I have a feeling. Again, I know that's what I've said about every game so far, but I feel like Doncaster have the opportunity to have a really interesting end to the season, and for the sake of entertainment, I really don't want them to waste it. So, Doncaster, I get behind you. Grant, come on, do your thing. Grant McCann. And surprise us.
Yeah, why not? Try and give us a surprise.
Why the hell not?
Right, moving on. I think we've got the most clear-cut choice of prediction this week, and that's Forest Green versus Walsall. Walsall have won their last 5 and 5.
Have they?
They've just got themselves into the playoff positions. They are on an incredible run of form. They've got all the momentum in the world behind them. I can't see this going any other way than a Walsall win. Walsall have come off the back of beating Doncaster, Accrington, Harrogate, Morecambe, Mansfield. I mean, that's an very impressive run of form. So, I think you said earlier Forest Green have got a little bit about them almost and have been on a decent form. And they have been. They've won 2 in the last 5 and could make a late escape from the relegation. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, but it could. I don't think that starts against Walsall. I think Walsall will pummel them.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think Forest Green will surprise Walsall, but that's not to say that Walsall won't absolutely batter them. Forest Green have Emmanuel Osadibe, who our fans gave a lot of stick to, and he's got the Quan Vegan Player of the Month award at Forest Green. So that's really nice for him. I'm dead made up for him.
Good.
But yeah, Forest Green have improved. Not enough to beat Walsall. 3-0 Walsall.
Oh, I've gone 2-0 Walsall.
2.
We'll see how that goes.
We will see.
Right. Next up, we've got Gillingham Tranmere. Now, this is a game to me that means very little. It might sound harsh, but when have we ever shied away from sounding harsh? There's 11 points between the two. Tranmere have got Rob Apter, who's unreal. And that's about it. I think Gillingham will come away with the win. I think it's a bit of a boring matchup. But Gillingham could get themselves back into the playoff positions. Obviously, they had a really good start to the season with a lot of 1-0s. Slipped off and a comeback. I think Gillingham could find themselves in the playoffs. I think Gillingham will win.
Yeah. I'm going to go 0-0. I think they're both very similar in that on their day, they're a very good side, and off their day, they're a very bad side. And I know you could say that about most football teams ever. But Gillingham feel very on and off. Every time I've said that, Gillingham have won. So you go do it, Gillingham. But at the same time, so does Tranmere. And I think Tranmere have surprised a lot of people. I think Tranmere were shy from taking the game to Gillingham. So it's going to be a very exciting one in that it's not exciting. You know what I mean? Nobody cares what happens, I don't think. But nobody knows what's going to happen. And I do look forward to at least finding out what happens there. But I don't think there's any result that I'm rooting for, to be honest. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't think it. On a personal note, it'd probably be better for Notts if Tranmere won. But
that's true. That's very true.
For me personally, I'm not really that fussed.
Yeah,
it's one of them.
Absolutely.
Like, go and miss, and I'm not going to look for this score after the game, thinking, "Oh, I hope this went our way," because I don't think it's like that at all yet.
Yeah, it's not. It's so strange at mid-table right now that anyone could do anything, which is very inspirational. Do you know what? I'm declaring that to be the title of this episode. So anyone could do anything. Title of this episode. Have we got another fixture?
Yeah, we've got 2 more. We've got Morecambe, who host Wrexham. Morecambe on a decent run of form as well. They've won their last 2. Wrexham won recently, drew before, then lost, then drew, then won. I don't know why I did that. You don't care what they did 5 games ago. Morecambe have just come off the back of a win from Crawley and Crewe. What do you think? What do you think?
Like fire. Morecambe and Wrexham. Well, it's a tale as old as time, really. Wrexham really need to make their mind up and get a bit of consistency. You know, they've been more good than bad this season, but I feel like they need to start consistently winning before the autos slip away. They know from their experiences in the league below that playoffs really do change everything, and they can just become a bit of a toss-up. For me, I do favourite Wrexham because it's Wrexham. But at the same time, Morecambe have been on blistering form recently. So I really don't know again. But the way I see it is Morecambe are on great form. I think they're going to want to play Wrexham and prove a point just, to show the world how good they are. Because it is a big stage, and Morecambe strike me as the sort of team who will rise to the challenge, do something about it. I look forward to that. I am going to throw a curveball, despite saying that I prefer Wrexham in this. I think 1-0 to Morecambe.
Oh, okay.
I'm
with you in the fact I think Morecambe will rise to the challenge and the pressure which comes with playing Wrexham. I think they will do. I think they've got the mentality to do so. I think just by looking at the way they've kind of turned their season around, because they started really quite poorly, I think, and then they've turned it around quite well, and now are looking in on the playoffs. And yeah, like you've said, Wrexham need to get a bit of a run together, really solidify themselves in the automatic spots, because if results don't go their way this Saturday, they could find themselves in 5th. And it's like, that'd be disappointing for them considering where they've been all season. With that in mind, I think Morecambe will draw. I think it's going to be 2-2.
Ooh.
Wrexham. Stop it.
What a great result.
To be fair, I think that probably would be a good result for most people.
For all, yeah.
Apart from Wrexham.
I think Morecambe would take that, to be honest, but
maybe so. And sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, is it time for the final game?
It is, and it's our former leaders, Stockport, who take on Newport.
So it's the Port County derby.
It is. It is the Port County derby. Stockport obviously not in great run of form. Hannah, if you're still listening and want to put something in the chat about Stockport's form, that's great. Drawn the last 2, lost 2 before that. Oh, some unpleasantries have been put in the chat. So we'll...
some very... I'm not going to repeat that for the children listening. Sorry, kids, but you're not allowed to know this. But the producer of this podcast has just said something very awful to absolutely everyone.
Because it ends with you all.
Yes.
Okay. We have got some information though. Newport did triumph over Stockport in November.
And they scored some very nice goals. Sorry.
So in the Port County derby, it is currently 1-0 to Newport. I think Stockport could get themselves back on track this week. Newport have been out very up and down. They've lost, then won, then lost, then won, then lost. Hannah says it's revenge time. So that's interesting.
When it comes to Stockport and when it comes to Newport, Hannah says, by the way, that there's still injury issues at Stockport, but it's a must-win. It is a big game for Stockport. They don't want to risk bottling the entire automatics because that would be absolutely a most egregious mistake. But in the Port County derby, I do have a team who I want to win. I do have a team who I think will win. And I'll give you a clue. It ends in Port County. I do think Newport County will win this. Let's throw it to end the podcast.
Fantastic. I can wait.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hannah.
We're nearly done.
I forget people cannot see the chat. Hannah said that I need to go to work, which is incredibly true. However, I will wait.
Talk as slow as possible.
No, let's not do that. I
2-1 to Newport County.
Okay.
Is that fast enough?
Yeah, it's a must-win for Stockport, really. Although, like we've said, if results don't go their way, say if they lose, Wrexham pick up a point, Mansfield win, Crewe win, they could find themselves in 5th by the end of tomorrow if results don't go their way. Which again wouldn't be very good.
I wouldn't be too pleased if I was Hannah and that happened, and it's going to. So sorry, Hannah. Sorry about that.
No, so I think they're going to draw because I think they're going to be too apprehensive to really go for it out of fear of losing. But we'll have the strength and the ability to hold off on Newport, and that's why I think it's going to be a draw.
How many goals to how many?
I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Even though I just put that
ballerina.
Stockport.
Yep. Newport County winning. Sorry, Hannah. I'm very confident. And only because I know Kieran listens to this.
So, Kieran, this one's for you. You're either winning or drawing at the weekend. But yeah, I think that rounds us off quite nicely. We've insulted our producer, who is now not happy with us. We've probably irritated one or two fan bases with some ignorant comments.
I'd hope so.
But that rounds off another episode of the League Two preview podcast.
It does. And what a journey it's been over the past hour.
I think it's not where we've got to, it's the friends we've made along the way. And
we've only lost a friend along the way. So
we've only lost one. So
well done, guys.